So the question was, there are 3 owls on a branch. 2 decide to jump. How many owls are left, right? And so I want you to give me your answer. 0, 1, 2, or 3. I'm gonna wait. All right, hopefully I give you enough time to check. So the responses were great on Instagram. So what's going on, ladies and gents? Joe G at Elite Health and Physique, and today we have another episode of If You Want to Know, Ask Trainer Joe. And today we have a pretty dope question to unpack. It's a beginner question, but I think a lot of people will benefit from it because a lot of people struggle with weight loss and keeping their weight in check. And as you know, I share this on my Instagram, but I'll share it with you now in case you don't follow me on there, but please do follow. At any given time in the US, right, where we live, 2/3 of people are trying to lose weight, but people don't know how to do it successfully. So in this video, we got a question about how to do that. And so I'm gonna answer it for you today in this video. Stay tuned. Ready to go? All right, let's dive in. Oh, and don't forget, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, help the Elite Movement grow. We'd love to see you. We'd love to have you here. We'd love to answer your questions, help you take control of your health and build a better physique. But for now, let's get right into the video. All right, so before we dive in, I just want to give you some background on what sparked this question. So I posted a question on my Instagram stories, and here it is. And I want to see what your answer is. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to answer before I tell you the truth. So the question was, there are 3 owls on a branch. 2 decide to jump. How many owls are left, right? And so I want you to give me your answer. 0, 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to wait. All right, hopefully I give you enough time to check. So the responses were great on Instagram. So 58 people said 3, 10 people said 2, and 8 people said 1. Of course, the correct answer was 3. And the point of this question was to illustrate that many people decide to do something, right? We decide, we have good intentions, but we don't act and we don't follow through. And deep down, I truly, honestly believe that many people struggle with their diet because they are paralyzed with all this misinformation out there. So they don't know what to do. So they take a couple steps, get a little bit of results, take a couple steps back, and then they can't figure out exactly what to do and they get frustrated and they give up. And so the purpose of this video is to, how do I say, so to speak, is to help rake the leaves off the lawn, right? So there's a nice clear path for you to walk up the driveway. But I can only rake the leaves for you. You still have to walk up the driveway, and that's the act, right? That's the action that you have to do after you decide. So you just decide and act, but enough talking. Let's get into the question. All right, so the question of the day comes from Pomano Moreno. Hopefully I said that right. She says, my problem is figuring out how many calories I should have and tracking my macros. I did it once, a little over a year ago, but it was confusing. I did it for about a month and gave up. Now I just try to eat healthy. No jokes, all right, let's keep it real. I just try to eat healthy. I always try to have protein and carbs in each meal, but without tracking. It's hard because I'm the only one who cooks in my home for myself and 5 others. When I tracked, I had to cook my meals separately and it was time consuming. What should I do? Okay, fairly good question. There's a lot to unload in there, and I'm sure many people have the same problem. So we're gonna go through this question step by step. We're gonna break it down so we can make it actionable so you can take the steps. Pomano Moreno, and also anybody else who's in the same situation, all right? So I'm gonna set it up for you, help you get through it, and we're gonna see at the end of the video if it all makes sense. All right, so let's break this question down step by step. So for the first part is, I have trouble figuring out how many calories and macronutrients I should be eating. Now, in order to find your total calories, and I covered this in my how to track your macros video. If you wanna go back to the beginning of my videos, I think it was about my first video, you could go back and look at there. But I'm gonna tell you right here. So in terms of your total macros, or in terms of finding out your total calories, you have 2 options. You can, one, head over to EliteHealthAndPhysique.com and use the macronutrient and the calorie calculators to find out, put all your information, and it'll give you a general guideline that you can go off of and start your diet there. But just in case you like math, I'm gonna give you a couple numbers here so you can start and do some simple math and get general guidelines and then start your diet that way. So depending on how much activity you're going to do, you should multiply your body weight either times 10 or times 12 or times 14 or times 16. So that all depends on how much activity you plan to do. So if you plan on working out, don't plan on working out at all, you're probably gonna go with 10. But I feel like those are harder to stick to. The lower your calories are, the harder it is to stick to, because you have these hormones, and it's too much for me to get into in this video, but you have these hormones, leptin and ghrelin, and they play a role in your hunger and the fat. And so what you'll do is, if you do that for too long, your calories are restricted for too long, if you're not working out, it takes a long time to do it. It's gonna work, it's gonna take a long time to do it. And usually when you come off of that, it's gonna be some rebound weight gain. So I don't really recommend going that low unless you are very seasoned and you know exactly what you're doing. So I would start a little bit higher and try to work out. So I would start at either 12, 14, or 16. Multiply your body weight by one of those, and that'll help you get a general guideline of where you should start. And you have to play with these, obviously, in order to find the right ratio for you. Or you could just, you could get with the trainer, you could hire somebody, a nutritionist or something, to do this for you. And then it'll be a little less guesswork for you. But either way, that's still a good guideline. 10, 12, 14, or 16. You can go back and check my other video, and I think I have more specific guidelines on it there. But I think that'll be a good start for you to get started just for your total calories. Now, for the macronutrients, I always love to start with carbs for two reasons. One, it's your body's main primary source of energy, right? Your body wants to use and burn sugar for energy. Secondly, it plays the biggest role in your body composition, because when you eat carbs, you trigger the insulin response. So, and insulin is a hormone, it's going to store things. So if you have too many calories, when you eat your carbs, then the excess that you eat is gonna be stored as fat. Now, if you time your calories right and you're exercising, then it's going to become a muscle building response that you're gonna get from the insulin. So it's storing, it's either going into your muscles and filling up with sugar, glycogen there, or it's spilling over, too much sugar in your muscles and your liver, and it's spilling over into fat. So that's the importance of the carbs. So for carbs, you wanna aim for, when you're dieting, about 1 gram per pound of body weight to start. So you start there and you work it and you see how it works for you. There's more specific guidelines, but then again, you have to hire somebody to help you do that. But you can figure it out on your own, just through some little trial and error. So that's what I'm trying to give you, a general guideline for you to help you get started. Now, for your proteins and your fats, they pretty much just stay the same. So when you're dieting, you want to look for protein. Now, depending on how much you plan on exercising, you may need more or less protein. So that would depend on what you plan on doing. But just to keep it safe, a nice safe guideline for proteins is you want to have 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So that's what you want to aim for. So 1 gram of carb, 1 gram of protein, or 1 to 1.5 grams of protein. And then for fats, for dieting now, you probably want about 0.5 grams of fats per pound of body weight. Again, fat calories are very nutrient dense. So you want to make sure you're not having too much, because again, that'll put you won't be in a deficit, essentially. So if you're putting too many sauces on your meals, then you're probably gonna have a lot of fats in there, and you probably won't see the fat loss. And that's why most people stop, because they think they're doing it right, but in reality, they're not. So you gotta pay attention to those macros. So 1 gram per pound of body weight for carbs, 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight for protein, and you want about let's say 0.4 to 0.6 grams of fat, depending on how you respond to fat and how much fat you like to have in your diet, right? Everybody's different. So those would be your guidelines for you to start with your calories and your macros. But there's something a little deeper here that I want to unpack that Emily had mentioned. So she has said here that I had tracked macros for about a month. It was confusing, and then I stopped and I gave up. So don't beat yourself up about this, because this is very common. Our relationship with food starts very young in life, and there's a quote, and I forget who said it, so credit to the guy or the gal who said this, but the first half of your life is spent learning habits, and the second half you spend repeating those habits. And so depending on your relationship and how you were brought up, your parents may have gone and got a lot of fast food when you were young, and so now those are highly palatable foods. Salt, sugar play a great role in the pleasure centers in our brain. So it's no surprise that people have difficulties coming off of these things. And even myself, for example, I had a sweet tooth when I was young, and I'll tell you a quick story. I remember when I was in high school, I had a friend, and she worked at Dunkin' Donuts, and then she told me, hey, well, you know that late at night they throw away these donuts and these pastries, and I said, what? Yeah, they just throw them away. said, where do you work? What time do you get off? So we're about 16 years old. One of my friends had a big boat car. And so you best believe every night she was working, I was in there eating about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Danishes, as many as I could, because I just had a sweet tooth, and I still struggle with that today. But I don't limit myself. I treat myself, because if I don't, I'm gonna go and binge. So you have to be conscious of what your weakness is, and you just have to work on your strengths, and your weaknesses are always gonna be there. You just have to stay strong, you know? So that's something I just want to tell you, and that everybody may struggle with, but it's okay. It's a big mental part, and I think that we forget to address it, so to speak. So I think that was pretty dope to really dig into that and see how she was feeling. So keep that in mind as you're going through this. It is a mental thing, and it's hard to detach from it. And for the last part of the question, she says here, so I'm the only one who cooks in my house for myself and 5 others. And it's time consuming cooking meals and then making them separately. Okay, so my advice for this would be, now when I was young, I had a single mom, she was home. She was not cooking every day for us. So what she said, she made one pot, made about 3 meals, spinach and rice, kidney beans and rice, something else, right? She make 3 for the whole week. You don't wanna eat that, you're on your own. Now I don't know how you feel about that, but if you wanna go that route, that worked well for us. And they'll get, you know, your family members will get used to it. Or what you could do is cook them their meals, right? And you can either portion out your meals, a small portion of that, or you can make separate meals. It's gonna take some time, but you'll get used to it. You just gotta find some quick meals that you can grab on the go when you're tired and you don't feel like cooking anymore. And so I think that's the best approach to take for it, because we're all busy, we all have things to do, but I think our health is very important, and so you have to make it a priority. You can't be too busy not to eat right. You can't be too busy not to try to take care of yourself. You know, it's important. You have to be there for the ones you love. So we all have to be there. I want to be here. I'm sure you want to be here, and everybody else who's watching this. At some point, deep down in your life or in whatever you're going through, you want to be there, and you know that eating food is a big factor in it. So I think that if you do that, I think you'll have some success. And I think you just got to go through it a little bit longer. You really just have to do it, apply it, make it become a habit, make it a priority, and you'll be fine. All right, so hopefully I covered everything that you pretty much needed. If anything I didn't cover, of course, you can send me another question and I'll try to answer it the best that I can. But this is pretty much everything you need in order to get started. This is very basic, very beginner, but I think it's very important for you to hear this and for other people to hear it and to see it and to understand there's more to it than just numbers. There is a mental aspect to it. And you know, I think that if you just take the pressure off yourself, I think you'll be able to do it. You do have to do you do have to set some guidelines in the house in terms of the meal prepping if you're going to be the main one making all the meals, because you know it's a lot of pressure on you. So I think that you should do that, and I think if you follow this, you should be all right. Of course, if you have questions, like I said, I will be here. You can ask away anytime, and so that's pretty much going to wrap the video up today, ladies and gents. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you liked the video. If you didn't like it, let me know what you didn't like, and I'll try to improve it, make it a little bit better for you. But don't forget to subscribe, help the elite movement grow, and the juice is always worth the squeeze. Take control of your health, build your physique. We'll see you on the next video.